Rose, I remember the very first time that it came into my life. I was working, my partner went over to WA with the kids, and my boss sent someone around to give me my pay. And I'll never forget this. This was the day, and he came around, had a packet of chewy that you unfold, that you got chewy in it. That was full of puff, full of gear, ice. And I said, "Here, Buzz, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?" And he goes, "Oh, well, this is what Brother Boy said to give to you." I said, "Well, fucking, what am I going to do with that?" You know, and I knew people that were smoking puff, you know, and I didn't touch it. I smoked weed. So I rang up one of the Brother Boys, and I said, "Yeah, you get on the puff, don't you?" And they said, Yeah. I said, "Yeah, I'll swap you this for a quarter of chuff." Rosie come around, did a little swap, and this is where it happened, man. As Brother Boy left, about an hour later, I seen the pipe fully loaded on my couch, and I was like, "Fuck, I should have a go at that," you know. And that was the very, very first time that I had it.
That's Warren Hubbard, but you can call him Wazza. A few years back, Waz was at breaking point, having been dominated by drugs and alcohol for most of his life. His addiction came before everything else, even his daughter, who was going through the same pain that Wazza experienced from his own father.
I very rarely remember him saying he loved me, you know. All I really remember is just great violence.
After a downward spiral more than a decade long, Waz finally drew a line in the sand and said no more, and meant it. Now he's 19 months sober, he's got a job, he's repaired his relationship with his daughter, and for the first time in his life, he's proud of who he is.
Welcome to Young Blood, the award-winning volunteer podcast dedicated to young men's mental health. My name's Callum McPherson, I'm a journalist, and this is a platform for everyday men to share lived experience stories and show that no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. Suicide is the #1 killer of young people, and changing that starts with speaking up. So let's do it. This episode has been made possible by Pro Realty Property Consultants. Pro Realty is a proud sponsor of the Young Blood Men's Mental Health podcast and a big believer in the importance of mental health awareness and suicide prevention. These legends swooped in with funding support at a time when we really needed it, and it's thanks to them we've been able to keep the show going. If you're looking for a commercial real estate agency you can trust to deliver quality, Pro Realty has a team of experienced professionals with the knowledge and expertise to provide you with a wide range of specialist services. Get in touch with their friendly team today to discuss how they can best assist you and mention Youngblood in your inquiry for a discount.
Trigger warning, if you find anything spoken about in today's episode distressing, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Waz, where did you grow up?
I grew up down at Frankston, Buzz.
And what was your childhood like?
It was pretty mixed up, man. I grew up in foster care throughout the DHS system, and it was pretty rough, to be honest. Well, my childhood down there, you know, there wasn't much other black fellas, you know, getting around. And throughout the 90s and early 2000s down there, it was pretty hectic, man. You know, being a black fella down there, yeah, pretty rough, man. My old man bring me down here because my mum tried to bump me off when I was a kid, you know, put me in a caravan and lit that thing on fire. So Dad brought me down here to get away from her. And which is, yeah, still kind of plays on my mind these days, but Dad tried to do the right thing. And then when I come down here, Dad just got straight into all the speed and everything. Unfortunately, I copped the brunt of the come downs, you know, between him and his friends. You know, some terrible things happened, brother, you know. Yeah, some pretty horrific things, man, you know.
I saw in one of your videos you said that you were their punching bag a lot of the time.
Yeah, I was, bros. There's one thing that always plays on my mind where my dad had a few of his mates around at his house, and just as their little laugh and joke and that, they used to put me under a blanket and get the dogs, you know, grab a dog like this and get them really up and viciously. They get them up like that, and then they'd put them under the blankets with me and let them go off with it, you know what I mean? And it was just, I don't know, man, it was fucked up, like how life was to other people, man, wasn't very fair,
So how did that make you view the world as a boy?
It was really weird, I never stopped loving my dad, but I was just always, I don't know, just running around, like I became a very agitated, very angry little boy.
You must have felt
very
like there
angry.
was no safe place for you in the world.
No, well, when I'd go to primary school, I used to want to sleep at primary school. I'd stay there as long as I could. All the boys in high school down at Frankston used to, after school, go down to the primary school at the Oval, and that's where they'd all gather together and muck around and that, and I used to go up there and hide between them, and they used to try and look after me. And Dad would come up because he wasn't one to be trifled with, and then no one could really do too much, when it come to me dad. I remember a lot of the boys, the older boys, everyone along the street would hear what he was doing. They could hear me, and the older boys used to go to Toys R Us in Frankston, and they'd go and get the Power Ranger toys that I loved, and that was their only an excuse to stop Dad from fucking harming me. They knock on the door, and I kept some of them toys throughout the foster homes.
So that meant a lot to you at the time. They were the only people who cared about you and gave you some respite from all the abuse you were suffering.
Yeah, it was really spinny, man. I did it the other day. I drove the routine that I used to do, because I used to go down a court, jump 2 sets of fences, and then I'd be at the high school, and then I'd feel safe with all the boys there,
So what age were you in foster care?
I started off going to foster care when I was 7, 8.
Did your dad say that he loved you? Was there any affection there, or was he always on drugs and being violent?
From some of the photos that Dad used to have, you could see I always loved Dad, and I'd always be sitting on his knee, looking up at him and that, but I very rarely remember him saying he loved me, All I really remember is just great violence.
And what was your experience in the foster care system? How long were you in there for?
My first foster home that I went to, unfortunately, was one of my dad's partners, and that was where I experienced basically torture, man. I didn't have a bed for for months, a year.
Where were you, on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor. I'd wake up I'd never really had any clothes. I'd wake up to them being dragged by my ear and just doused with the hose, and sleeping in the laundry with the dog, or out in the shed. And then when Dad would get a wind of what was happening, he'd try and come around and drop me off I remember a little matchbox car, just so he could come see me. And but bless him, he didn't realise his presence was making it worse on me. Every time that he'd show up, I would cop it tenfold, bruz. Yeah, it just didn't stop.
So why were you treated so horrendously in foster care? Were they just getting off on torturing you? They were just terrible people?
I still don't know to this day, man. I've searched and looked for answers. I've even tried to get a hold of this lady and her daughters. People have said that she's changed her name since. Yeah, because that's all I've really wanted to know is, because I was a good-looking little boy. I was a happy little boy when I could be. And I just wanted to know, why'd you do this to me? What I do wrong? But
yeah, well, you didn't do anything wrong, mate. It sounds like they're abusers, and that's very hard for people to understand who aren't, and it's impossible for a little kid to understand, especially when you just come out of another abusive environment straight into another one.
Yeah, bros. But I eventually ended up coming to the last home that I got brought up in. They were an elderly couple, and they I remember the first day that I was with them, they said to me, I remember I was sleeping up on the top bunk, and they had 2 sons and a daughter, and the youngest son came home with one of his friends, and I can see it. I got the smell and everything, bros. I remember looking and hearing a voice just saying, "I know that boy," and it was one of the fellas that used to look after me up at the high school, and he said to the parents and to the brother, to Gavin, he said, "Yeah, you look after that boy. You have no idea, I call him like one of my guardians, He always made sure I was all right and that, And for some weird reason, he'd just pop up in life when things were getting a bit rough, brother.
Did they look after you?
They did, man. I remember they said to me, because I was used to going from home to home, and I'd never unpack my clothes. I'd always just have them in them garbage bags, and I'd just be ready to go to the next home. And they actually ended up stopping foster caring so that I could feel like I was going to be home, And they said to me that they reckon that they couldn't touch me or give me a hug for like the first year and a half, 2 years. I just
traumatized.
Couldn't. Yeah, badly traumatized me. I still flinch to these days, even when I've got a missus or something, when they touch me or anything like that, bros. I still kind of, and it's not. I don't feel like I'm scared or anything like that, But it's just a natural thing for me now, bros.
No, it's a lifelong impact, isn't it? It becomes a reflex, it's conditioned into you from a young age.
Yeah, unfortunately, bro, yeah. And it was one thing when I came into recovery and I learned about all my trauma and all that type of stuff, that was the reason for a lot of my... I find it hard to, when people say that they love me, try to get into my life and that. My natural reaction is, what are your plans and what's your motive?
Yeah.
And I always get on the back foot, bro.
Yeah, very hard to trust.
Yeah, and bros, I'll be straight with you, man. It's caused me some beautiful relationships with friends, partners, everything, man. Because as soon as someone says that they love me, I just straight to those pictures, man. And everyone that said that they loved me always done, great harm to me, bro.
That's so hard to try to change that once you've grown up that way and you've never been able to trust anyone. And any time, well, pretty much every time someone who should have looked after you been in that position of power, they've abused it. So hard to trust that anyone else is going to do any differently. But it sounds like there were at least a few good people along the way, like these boys you met who bought you the toys and this elderly couple. How long did you stay with them for?
I stayed with them. Foster caring, they usually not kick, but a lot of them get rid of them at the age of 18. That's when it stops. But this small beer, they let me stay, and they literally called me their family, brother. Yeah, it was really intense, man. And to this day, I still speak to them. And to be honest with you, I've done a lot of damage there too. But that's why I'm on the journey I'm on now. Because I can't afford to keep doing that to them. And they're an elderly couple now too, brother.
So did you go through school? What were your teenage years like?
Your teenage years were all right. School was hard. I wasn't no brain surgeon or anything, Buzz. But it was all right, man. Like as I said, only real hard bits about school was, just topping the old Abbo or nigger or go back to your own country. And I'm just like, hey, bruz, like, this is my country, But
so there's a lot of racism.
But, yeah, I copped a lot of racism until I was probably about 15, man. And then I started turning real wild. And
You must have had a lot of anger.
Yeah, I did, bro. But for some weird reason, man, I always wanted to just smile, you know. I just wanted to be one of the good ones, man, you know. Yeah, it was real weird, bro. Like I was always going through primary school and that. I know it's not a good thing to say in that, but I bullied the bullies, you know. My first ever best friend, she had cerebral palsy, you know. I'll tell you this quick little yarn here that I didn't see it, brother, you know. And I was at her house one day. This was my first ever best friend, and I was at her house one day playing crack the egg on a trampoline, and I don't know if you remember that game. I was bouncing her up and down, and you're supposed to bounce until they let go of the egg shape. And her mum came out, Katie, and said, Wazza, oi, stop, you know. I'm there bouncing, and I'm like, no, I'll go crack her, you know. And then she came over. Yeah, because she's tensed up all the time. And her mum, Katie, had to come sit me down and say, Warren, you're not going to crack her, you know. I'm like, no, I'll bet you I'll get her, you know. And she explained to me what her condition was, you know. And that she had cerebral palsy, and it was really weird to the average person. They can't understand her, whereas I could hear her perfectly, bro. You know, I knew everything she was talking about and everything, man. You know, and it was really trippy.
And she used to get bullied?
Oh, not really, man. You know, you get the odd smart arts and that, bros. You know, but yeah, I soon put a stop to it, bros.
Yeah, because you said you bullied the bullies. So was that happening? Like, did you have mates that were getting into trouble and then you took it upon yourself to try to help?
No. Well, what I mean by that is when I'd be in class or something, say like in school there would be like groups and that, and there was a single person that would be overweight or smell a bit different or look different or anything like that, and they'd get singled out, that's when I'd step in and always fought for the ones who couldn't fight, you know?
Mm.
And like when I say I was a bully, I didn't mean in like a bully way, but I stood up for the ones that didn't have any voice, you know?
Yeah. So you had that in you, and you knew right from wrong, and you felt like deep down you were this happy person with a vibrant spirit, but the world wasn't giving you a chance, it sounds like.
That's him, bros. That's him. As I got into high school, brother, I wasn't doing too good at. They sent me to a Christian school and that, and in high school, and bros, I'll be honest with you, that was hard. You know, it was really hard.
Why was that?
Just the schoolwork to start off with, but it was really intense, man. You know, because I ended up getting expelled from there, and because everyone was so smart and that, brother. You know, and the teachers used to say to me, I remember Miss Woods, the principal, said to me, "What was it?" They thought that I was like the class clown, you know, and I said to them, you all think I'm the class clown because every time I put my hand up and try to answer a question, it's always wrong, and everyone just laughs at me. You know, you think I'm trying to be funny in that, but I'm fucking trying my hardest, you know, and everyone's just having a laugh, you know. So fucking, it was really hard, bro. And but I got to a point where on the exams, we were doing a geography or whatever, and I was getting laughed at, and I ended up flogging a fella with one of the geography books and with all the atlas and all that shit in it. And they asked me, you know, like, what's wrong? And I just said, yeah, I'm trying my hardest, but I just can't do it. I was lucky they actually understood where I was coming from, you know, because I said to them, you think I like getting laughed at all the time? They actually gave me the chance. They said, you got to do maths or English, and and there was one other subject, and the rest you can do maintenance around the school. You know, I learned how to weld, drove the golf cart around and that, man. Done my guitar lessons, sport and art, and but you know, I was too far on the erratic in the head, man. You know, and I was just kept running amok, man.
Yeah, so you managed to have some good experiences and bits and pieces there, but yeah, coming from, I suppose, the background that you've had and the experiences that have built up over time, like, must have been really hard to focus, and then it would have been difficult for your self-esteem too. Like every time you're trying to do your best, people are laughing at you or pointing you out, and your differences are being made obvious all the time. And then, you know, you're not seeing your father figure too. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it would have been super hard to know like where to go and how to conduct yourself and how to stay focused. And one question I have is, what did you think your opportunities were for life? Like, where did you see your life going at that point?
To be honest, man, I didn't have any future visions, man. Nothing really at all. I was a typical teenager where I just wanted to play footy. I did well in my footy too. You know, that pulled me out of a few years of mayhem, you know, because when I left high school at a pretty young age, I moved out with a bunch of fellas, and yeah, that was when I started smoking weed, drinking, and everything, bros, you know. And then Derek Tickett, I don't know if you know him, my brother boy used to play AFL. He seen me play footy, and by this time I'd moved away from my foster parents, and they rang me up and said, "You've got an opportunity to go and train at the Stingrays," you know. And I said, "Yeah, sweet," you know. And literally that day, I just jumped. I said, "Can you come pick me up?" And they come pick me up, bros. I literally stopped smoking cigarettes, bongs, drinking, didn't even eat chocolate. I fully committed, man, you know, for years, bro. You know, I just committed. I didn't see anyone. I started working in a nursery, did an apprenticeship there, and yeah, did really well in it, man, until I got to 18 and getting to the higher stakes of it. And yeah, then I got a missus, got a partner, had a child, and that was when the new life came in, bros. You know, trying to be an adult, and didn't handle well, man.
Yeah, so that's a lot of pressure for an 18-year-old to have all that stuff happening at once. So you were hoping to play AFL, and then life got in the way, and you started going down a different path.
Yeah, proper, brother. Yeah, proper.
So when did the drugs come back into it? Was that because you went back to running with that crowd you were with before, or did you mix in some new circles?
Raz, I remember the very first time that it came into my life. I was working. My partner went over to WA with the kids, and my boss sent someone around to give me my pay. And Dan, I'll never forget this. This was the day, and he came around, had a packet of chewy that you unfold, then you got chewy in it. That was full of puff, full of gear, ice. And I said, "Here, bros, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?" And he goes, "Oh, well, this is what brother boy said to give to you." I said, "Well, fucking, what am I going to do with that?" You know, and I knew people that were smoking puff, you know, and I didn't touch it. I smoked weed. So I rang up one of the brother boys, and I said, "Yeah, you get on the puff, don't you?" And they said, Yeah. I said, "Yeah, I'll swap you this for a quarter of chuff." Rosie come around, did the little swap, and this is where it happened, man. As brother boy left, about an hour later, I seen the pipe fully loaded on my couch, and I was like, "Fuck, I should have a go at that," you know. And that was the very, very first time that I had it, and yeah, that was it was crazy. I remember sitting that very, very first time on Facebook, and all the little square heads, like to tell you who's online, they're all moving and shit like that. And it was really weird, bros. And then I started trying to get rid of that feeling and smoking more cones, and that was it, man. You know, fucking hook, line, and sinker.
We all know physical health and mental health go hand in hand, and that's why Young Blood has partnered with Athletic Greens to bring you the benefits that can help with both. You might have heard of AG1, the one-stop shop nutritional drink packed full of everything you need to support your mind and body. Just one daily scoop of AG1 covers all your nutritional bases and supports long-term gut health with 75 vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, a greens blend, and whole food ingredients. Think of it like a cheat code to give you more energy, increase mental clarity, better sleep, and improve digestion, all while boosting your immune system. You wouldn't think mixing all those vitamins together would taste great, but AG1 is actually delicious and really simple to make part of your morning routine. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but producing the podcast is purely volunteer, and I actually have to pay for studio time and editing. Every dollar we make from this partnership will go towards helping to cover production costs, so it's an awesome way to support your health, help the podcast, and contribute to young men's mental health all in one. If you're looking for a simpler and cost-effective supplement routine, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/youngblood. That's athleticgreens.com/youngblood. Check it out.
So what did you get out of smoking ice? Like, what did it give you that you liked?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing, man. At the time, to be honest, it was really weird because usually when you first try something and you don't like it, you don't go back to it.
Yes. And the typical story as well was, which we always hear, especially with ice, is that, you know, the ad campaigns like not even once. You do it once and you're hooked, and people say, oh, it's because it's better than sex. You know, it's the best feeling ever. So for you to say, nah, it was shit, I didn't even like it, but I gave my whole life to it, that's pretty interesting. Can you explain that?
Like, as I said to you, man, it just kicked off a whole new sense of paranoia. My mind's already wicked as it is. And, brother, some of the things I was seeing was pretty intense, man, you know? And
hallucinating?
Yeah, bro, like proper hallucinating. And that was the thing that I got addicted to, was I loved that I got to the stage of the psychosis where I'd stay up for 7 days and then my body would want to shut down, and then I was smoking cones, and that balance was allowing me to see things, talk to people, pour my heart out to people that weren't even there, bros, you know?
So do you think you were self-medicating, like, because of all the trauma that you'd been through, and like maybe you liked getting to the point where like you could feel those emotions and you could let it out in some sort of a way, even to people who weren't there? Does that seem to be like sort of what you were thinking? Because it doesn't seem like there was much that would be good about that, other than you potentially looking for a bit of a release to be able to deal with some of the, or at least, you know, front up to some of the horrible stuff that's happened to you.
Well, when I first, as I said to you, I didn't like it, bro, you know, so I kind of stopped it after a little bit, because when I come back from WA, I had to fucking find money to fill up the cupboards and all the fridge and that, bro, you know, and I was like, nah, I can't do this, Wazza. And so I just gave it away for a little bit, and then because of the crowd I was hanging around with, it started coming in more often, bro, and then my missus, I ended up turning into a mongrel, bros. Absolute mongrel, man, you know?
How so?
Like, I wouldn't come home from work. I was out there. A lot of, to start off with, bros, I was actually with my boss a lot of the time, because I was waiting with him at the pokies to give me my pay, bros, you know? And I wouldn't come home till fucking he basically pressed it all through and that, because I didn't want to be a pain in the ass and be like, bros, I need me money, man. So I'd just stay with him. And then I ended up snorting the shit with him. And then when that shit's in your system, you just, you know, days can go past, man, and it started becoming a routine, bros, you know, and I ended up becoming one of them people whereas I wouldn't go back to my missus until the party was over, I had nothing left, and then I go and see her, you know what I mean? Or I stay at her house during the week for work, and then come weekend, I'd fuck off on her again, bros. You know, just a real mongrel, man. And then I started making up reasons for a fight so I could fuck off, bro. You know, just no good, man. And this led to me separating from her and not being able to watch my daughter grow up, man, you know, and it was because it was all my own doing, brothers, you know, and man, I treated that woman like shit, bro, you know, and the thing was, bros, she held on to me for so long, man, and I didn't even notice, man. I didn't know why, you know, I couldn't understand, bros, you know, and
because you didn't love yourself, but she loved you.
Yeah, bros. I mean, she held on to me for a long time, bros. You know, a long time. I remember saying to her, like, when I come back too, I said, bros, was that hectic watching me break? And she said to me, oh, fucking, there was nothing worse. You know, I didn't even realise, man. You know, like, yeah, like, imagine what she was seeing, my child was seeing, you know. Sometimes they'd see me looking good, and then within a week's time, like a couple of weeks' time, I'd be 50 kilos dripping wet, bros, you know, and thinking that no one could, like, I was going unseen, you know.
So how do you feel about being a dad at that time? Like, was that playing on your mind that you're supposed to be a father, be there for your daughter, but here you are, a drug addict instead? Or were you so numbed out by it that you didn't even really think about it or feel about it that way?
Nah, bros. I was on them ones where I'd go out and people would say to me, you know, how's your daughter and all this shit. I had no clue, you know, but I'd go along with it, man. You know, I'd make out that I knew how she was and how she's doing and all this, bro, you know. And then it started really catching up to me, man, you know, and when I started seeing more of my daughter and that, when she'd leave, she'd cry, you know, and that was like, I think, the first time that I felt proper, like, that I'm missed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the first time I really had an emotional attachment of feeling of love and that, man, you know, and but I'm not making any excuses in that, but by this time I was pretty much cooked, like, you know what I mean? I wasn't well. And
so you were on ice every day?
Bros, if I couldn't get it every day, fucking, yeah, I tried to have it every day, man, you know. But if I wasn't cooked, I'd have something else so that I wasn't in reality, bro. You know, I couldn't stand reality, man, you know. It was too painful, bro. And knowing that I'd done it to myself, man, you know, it was really painful, bro. Just losing everything, man. And
knowing that you were doing exactly what your dad had done to you. Well, not the abuse stuff, but in terms of the drug use and not being able to support you. And you were suddenly that person as well, which I imagine was the one thing you never wanted to become.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. I asked a few people along my journey that knew my father, and I said to them, can you tell me what my dad was like? And they said he was a fucking junkie and he was a thieving cunt, you know? And I've just gone, oh, fuck, you know? And I said to myself, I'm like, Wazza, you've become the one person that you don't want to be, brother, you know? And it really hit home, man. Really hit home, because no kid deserves to grow up in that way, man, you know, especially without their father. Kids yearn for their father. I did, you know, and because as I said to you before, man, my dad was tripped out as it sounds, man, my dad was my hero, you know. when I was getting flogged around in those other homes, Dad would try and come and save me, you know, but he couldn't, you know. And I don't know, man. That's why I'm on the path I'm on now, bros, you know, because my daughter loves me, bros, and I love her, and I'll do anything for that girl, brother.
So how long did you want to give up for before you finally drew that line in the sand when we were able to do so? Because you got to be, people often say you got to be ready to quit. You got to be ready to try to actually give it up before it's even worth attempting it. So were you still doing drugs for a long time, feeling really guilty about it and knowing that you wanted to stop, or how did that go?
It was about 5 years, man. My way of stopping and getting off it, unfortunately, was to run away. And I'd caused as much harm and damage wherever I was, and then I'd just run away, and then I'd think that was solving the problem. You know what I mean? Whereas I've got to come back to this place, man. So I'd skip state. I was skipping state all over Australia, and that was what I was just doing, bruds. You know, and
you getting in trouble with the police as well?
Yeah, bro. Like proper, man. Like I was getting worse and worse in each state I was going to. You know, I was just fucking right. But how I thought I was doing was when I went up to Queensland, I put down the ice because I smoked it, and everyone up there, like that I met, and that they all booted it, you know, and which had no effect on me, you know, because anytime I see a needle and that, I just instantly see my dad in the flashes of, you know, the mayhem type thing, you know, and so it was easy for me to do. But what I was doing was when I dropped something, I'd pick up something else, and that was an endless cycle, bros. So when I dropped the pipe, I'd pick up the bottle. When I dropped the bottle, I'd pick up the bong. Yeah. You know, and it was crazy, man.
Because like you just said before, mate, the thing was you couldn't cope with being in reality, so you needed something to take you out of it. And that's pretty typical when we give up one vice or one addiction. That's when you very quickly got to potentially battle another one, because the core of the problem is there's something that you're trying to escape or some sort of trauma that you need to heal from. And as a coping mechanism, your brain's going to something that's going to numb you out.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. And that's one thing. When I had to do jail in Ravenhall in Victoria, that was when I met a few colourful characters in jail, and more or less when you're spoken to, you listen, you know? And when I come in the yard, they said, "Yeah, come do a lap with us." And I went and done a couple of laps with these fellas, and it was really trippy, bro. They literally said to me straight out, they said, "Yeah, I don't usually just go talking to any cunt, you know, like I want you to listen, I want you to listen now, you know, like get the fuck out of here, you know." And there's a place called Galliamble, you know, for you fellas, you know, because they were white fellas that were speaking to me, but they knew of this place on Grace Street, and it was an Aboriginal Men's Recovery Centre, Galliamble. And when I went for bail, they went to bail me there, and then all the boys, they said to me, they said, how'd you go, Wazza? You know, and I said, nah, they want to send me to some rehab, bros, you know. And I was like, no, I'll stay here with all you boys, you know. And then they've all just said, here, bros, we'll fucking give you a good flogging, brother. Get the fuck out, you know, go be with your daughter, you know. And I said, yeah, righto. And never looked back since, man. You know, it was the first time I actually did recovery. You know, I didn't run away. I addressed a lot of things, man. You know, like this yarn I'm having with you now about my past, about traumas, about my addictions. It's about everything, man. How to become a father, how to try and speak properly again, how to live again, man. And it's been a long process, man. And I didn't just get it first time, bros. No way, And good luck to anyone that gets it first time, that's wicked. But it took me 5 goes, bros, And I kept using those to start off with. I'd find any excuse to leave. I used COVID to start off with. I used my ex-partner to start off with. And then I was just using any excuse, man, And I'd get a good couple of months up and straight back into it, man, because I do my recovery at the centre, but I wasn't taking in what I was being told, and because you can leave that place with a lot of tools on how to handle things, man, and that was when my partner and my kids, she said to me, "I'll never stop you from seeing your daughter, Wazza. Never, ever will I stop you from seeing your daughter unless I have to." And this last time that I went into rehab, beforehand, she said to me, she's like, I can't let Kiara come around, I didn't arc up. I didn't get angry. I said, yeah, I know. And I was on the bones of my ass, bros, this time. It was really, I hit a really sad patch, brother. I got very suicidal. I tried to reach out for help and go into a home detox at this place. And it was really hard, bros, because this place that I was doing at, they made out that they were all sweet and that. They were even hosting meetings, but 5 minutes beforehand, they were fucking booting up, bros, And it made it really hard on me. And they told me to come up, and they were really good friends of mine, at the time. And the first thing they said to me was, "It's good to have you up here, Wazza. I'll give you a point and you can do my dishes. That's how you can pay your rent." And I said, "You fucking what?" And really, really, really made me feel like a prim and proper piece of shit, man, It was really stale in this house, bros. And the quietness was becoming loud. It was getting really loud. All I was doing was feeling my daughter, and it got to the point where I felt that ashamed for my daughter for having a father like me, that I said to myself, "Bros, if you call it a day now," and I walked up onto the bridge near the West Gate there, and I just sat on the edge, man, and I said to myself, "Wazza, this fall isn't going to do fuck all, man. It's probably going to break your legs at the most." All I kept thinking was my daughter, and I kept feeling my daughter, bro. I could feel her already missing me like I was gone, and I had to wait. I had to do 4 more clean urines to get into the recovery centre, and I just rang them up and I said, "Yeah, I can't do this. I need to get out. I need to get in now, because I don't really want to be here anymore, And since that day, man, that was 19 months and a couple of days ago, that I made that step, man, and haven't looked back, brother.
Good on you, man. That's a very powerful story, and it's amazing that when you were really at that bottom there, that you still found a way to keep going, and you could hear your daughter and feel your daughter, and she's obviously your reason for living, which is a beautiful thing. And great that rehab centre obviously took you in when you desperately needed it at that point too. So how have you been able to stay sober, mate?
Well, to start off with, Buzz, I got uncomfortable to be comfortable, man. And that was, I moved away from home, my hometown. I moved away from my old friends, and I moved up to the city. And I'm probably about 800 metres away from Galliamble, where I done my recovery, the rehab centre. I go there nearly on a daily basis just to go and see all the brother boys coming through. I love to see them on their journeys, and I go to about 4 meetings a week. I'm smack bang in the middle of all my meetings. I've learned to pick up the phone. People say all you got to do is pick up the phone and speak, but for some of us, man, it's easier said than done, man. To pick up a phone and make a phone call, but once you start making them habits, man, it gets pretty easy after time, brothers. And I got work now.
How's it feel having a solid job now?
Feels pretty wicked, bro. It feels pretty mean.
Where you working?
I was just doing some Ricky labouring to start off with, man, to get some little bit of coin up. But a few of the other brother boys that have been through recovery and rehab, they kept an eye on me and gave me a good opportunity. And now I got my foot in on them union sites and that there,
nice, bro.
Oh, look, bro,
big jobs, bro.
Pretty mid, man.
Good on you, man. That's wicked. And I like how before you were surrounded by drugs where you were, and now you're surrounded by rehab centers and recovery joints and that, and it's with your TikTok, but it sounds like in person as well. You're using your own experience to help other people, and just let us know what you get out of doing that. Like, I suppose sharing your journey online, but also when you talk to other brothers and help them through their own stuff. Like, what does that do for you?
Someone said this on one of my posts the other day, and it's pretty powerful, man, because the amount of people that share with me is absolutely it's a blessing, man, and it helps me keep myself accountable too, bros. Because if I don't put something up, man, I'm copping messages, and I haven't had that type of love before, bro. I little snippets in that, man, but it's a genuine people in the same line of life and the same journey, man. And as much as people have said that I'm helping them, is I'm getting the same type from them too, bros. If that makes sense, man, because someone will explain their story to me and it will really hit home with me, and I just thought, fuck, it's pretty powerful stuff. And some of the stories that people have shared with me, I've met people on the street, and they've literally just come walking up to me, and it's been when I'm with my daughter too. They'll be like, "Yeah, oi, you're that fella from TikTok, eh?" I'm like, "Oh," and they're like, "Brother boy," And my daughter will just glow up and that, man, and it's good, man, because it's all people in the same thing, brother.
Well, I think, bro, you're getting it sounds to me like you're getting what you were looking for all along, which is connection, real connection with people, and acceptance, and accepting yourself as a human being as well, and actually being treated the way you deserve to be treated, mostly from yourself, respecting yourself for once, and your entire life has changed around you shifting that attitude and valuing yourself and valuing your own life and your role as a father, and then deciding that you're going to be the one to break that cycle rather than perpetuate it. Someone in that cycle has to be the person to stand up and do that, and you're doing that, and you should be so proud of yourself, mate. And then I know the other part of this, which you're more than aware of, is that the battle doesn't stop, does it? You're still an everyday thing.
100%, man, 100%, and that's the thing. If you think that you're sweet and you got shit covered, that's when it's always doing push-ups, in the back of your mind, just building up, brother, and that's one thing I've seriously taken on, that when I think I'm right, that's when I need to pick up that phone, head to a meeting, go surround myself with the brother boys, or just go see my daughter and that, man, because that can be a major downfall, brother. You can think you're right, think you've earned a bit of money from work, your life's wicked now, sun's shining, the boys are here. I'm sweet to have a couple of drinks,
that can be a trigger as
bang.
well. Good times can be a trigger just like bad times, can't they?
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, and I know that you also, it seems like you just vibe out and get a bit of chill time doing your art these days as well. Like, you know, back when you would have turned to the bottle or whatever, I see your videos of you vibing out, doing your art and selling your art and stuff. That's a pretty cool little side hustle you got going as well.
Yeah, it's all right, bro. That was one of the gifts I learned in rehab with my artwork. I'd seen a lot of the brother boys. I'd be in there and there'd be some wild characters, and I'll be like, "What the fuck? Why is it so quiet in this joint? You know, like what's going on?" I went into all their rooms and that, and they just got little bits of music playing. And I say, "Hey, oi, what are you doing?" You know, and they're just like, just dotting away, bros. You know, I'm like, "No, oi, what are you mob doing?" You know, and they said, "Come here. Have you ever done painting before?" And I got into it, bros, you know, and I said, "Fuck you," you know, and haven't looked back since, man.
Yeah. How much does that mean to you, the art, doing the art?
Yeah, heaps, man. It's basically a form of meditation for me, bros. You know, and to be honest, I need to be doing a bit more because I slack off on it a bit, you know. But yeah, it's pretty wicked, and I've been able to pass it on to my daughter too, and she loves her Indigenous side and that, you know, and yeah, it's pretty deadly, man.
Yeah, beautiful, because you need to replace drinking and drugs with something as well. Like, it's no good to just abstain and sit on the couch and twiddle your thumbs. You know, you got to come up with other activities to do. So art is a perfect one. It calms down your mind and allows you to create something, and then obviously spending time with your daughter as well. But it's so important to actually replace those behaviors with positive ones. Otherwise, you're just going to go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
So, when you look in the mirror these days, what do you see?
Bros, I did this the other day, man. I walked in the mirror, and it was probably one of the first times I've done it. And I looked at it, and I literally just went, you know, we're all right, brother. You're all right. I respect who I am today, you know. I was ashamed to look at who I was. I hated looking at myself in the mirror, man. I walk around with my head down, you know. I wouldn't see in front of me, I'd look down, you know, but I've got a sense of pride in myself today. You know, I've become a good father, a good dad, I mean, a good person, man, and I'm becoming a strong Aboriginal man again, you know what I mean? And before, I was just an empty vessel, brother, you know, just cruising. I wouldn't say cruising, but just floating through life with no meaning, no goals, no nothing, brother, you know. But today, I like who I am, you know. I like who I am.
Yeah, that's beautiful, mate. You should like who you are, and other people do too. I think that's why you're so popular online, because you're really authentic and people connect with you and your story because it's honest. And I think you're just a great example that it is possible, and you can be at that rock bottom and not see a path forward and then make it happen anyway, mate. So, you know, yeah, you should be so proud of yourself. I'm sure your daughter is too, and more power to you, brother, from here.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate it, man.
That's it for this episode. If you like what we're all about, support us by following Youngblood Men's Mental Health on Instagram and Youngblood Mental Health on TikTok. And if you're already following, we'd love to get you more involved. Keep an eye out for our regular community question time posts on Instagram and drop a comment with your answers to join the conversation. Every podcast episode is recorded in professional quality video, and they're all up on our Youngblood Men's Mental Health YouTube channel. So please show some love and subscribe. Thanks to our local business supporters, Herd Financial. You can find everything there is to know about the podcast at youngbloodmensmentalhealth.com. And most importantly, please share these stories with anyone in your life who needs to know they're not alone. We're all in this together. Catch you next time.